Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to read a pictorial biography of Shakyamuni Buddha, and it's Chinese English. There is a Chinese script, there is English script, and it's given. This book has lots of beautiful pictures, and I'm gonna read it because I really like Buddha's teaching. I may not agree with everything, and that disagreement is just like 2 to not more than 5%. Everything else, whatever he has taught, I really do agree. Only 5 to 10% of his teachings I don't agree with, and it's like minor thing. But basically, 90% I totally agree with him. So I'll start this book. Who is the author? I'll just see. Original illustration and narration in Thai by Gunapayuta. Translation into Chinese by Bhikshu Jen Hai. I don't know. Translation into English by Z. Elu. Coloring by Yan Fagli. Yang Fagli. Okay, fine. So I'll just show you this. It looks like this. I'll post a picture of it and pictures of whatever I'm reading and seeing, because the pictures are really beautiful. At the end of this video I'll add, because editing of this video means I really get bored. I have to edit and I have to just um, add the pages right before right under my video, so it takes a lot of time. So I'll just add the pictures at the end of this video. Okay, so I'll start. Page number 1. India, before the time of the Buddha, was called Jambudvipa. It was divided into many kingdoms, large and small, some of which were ruled by kings and some of which were ruled jointly by several royal tribes. One of these many small kingdoms was called Kapilvastu, which was located on the north bank of the Rapti River, on the rim of the Himalayas. The ruler of this kingdom was King Suddhodana of the Shakya clan. His family name was Gautama, and his queen was called Maya. Page number 3. After they were married, King Suddhodana and Queen Maya lived very happily together. After many years, the queen became pregnant. She asked the king to permit her to return to her home city of Devadasita to give birth to their child. King Suddhodana readily consented and ordered the troop of royal attendants to prepare for the trip and to clean up and beautify the roads the queen would travel on. At the junction of Kapilvastu and the city of Devadasita was a place called Lumbini Park. Every summer, people of the two cities flocked to this park to rest or to play under the sala trees. They enjoyed the beautiful flowers blooming all over the tree branches and the melodious twittering of birds and the humming of the ever busy honeybees. The time Queen Maya arrived at Lumbini Park was on the 15th of June, the full moon day on Friday, according to the reckoning of the Thai tradition. This date is now, according to the solar calendar, the full moon day of May of every year. As the time was going towards noon, the weather was very hot, so she ordered the troops to stop so that she could rest for a while in the shade of the trees. But before long, while walking around under the sala trees, enjoying the beautiful scenery, she felt her birth pangs and thereafter gave birth to a prince amidst the songs of birds and humming of bees. Queen Maya gave birth to the prince in the Lumbini Park, and the palace maids in her attendance were very busy in looking carefully after the queen and the prince. The palace maids also requested the queen and the prince to return to Kapilavastu. King Suddhodana was very happy at the sight of the newborn prince. He ordered additional care for the queen and the prince. On the mountains outside Kapilavastu lived many hermit sages. Among them was Asita, an old sage who commanded great respect from the people and King Suddhodana. When Asita learned that the king was the proud father of a new prince, he rushed to the palace at Kapilavastu in order to read the physiognomy of the prince. When the old sage arrived at the palace, King Suddhodana, to show reverence to Asita and expecting blessing from him, ordered that the prince he brought out. Asita looked attentively and discovered that the prince indeed had a look of great virtue in his countenance. He was very excited and a smile of joy appeared on his face, but almost as quickly a tear dropped from his eye. King Suddhodana was puzzled. He asked Asita why he wept. Asita replied, "The prince has the look of the great man. Some day he will attain enlightenment, perfected in both wisdom and virtue, and become the teacher and master of men and devas. I wept because of my age. By the time the prince attains enlightenment and becomes the savior of the world, I shall not be around." After saying this, he knelt down to pay worship to the prince. Unconsciously, King Suddhodana followed him, also kneeling down to the prince. 5 days after the prince's birth, King Suddhodana gathered many scholars in the palace hall in order to decide on the name of the prince. After conferring with each other, the scholars selected Siddhartha, means realization of all aims, as the new prince's name. During the day of naming ceremony, the scholars had a chance to view closely the virtuous look on the prince's face. They unanimously predicted if the prince succeeds his father and becomes king, he will become a Chakravarti. But if instead he leaves home to pursue spiritual wisdom, he will become a Buddha. But one young scholar named Kaudinya firmly testified when Prince Siddhartha grows up, he will abandon the throne in pursuit of supreme wisdom, and he will attain perfect enlightenment and become the first supreme teacher of the world. The people and scholars of the country all wished for the prince to become a Chakravarti when he grew up. King Suddhodana wished for this too. He certainly did not want his son to leave home and become a teacher, for he expected the prince, when the time came, to have a family like other human beings, raise children, and succeed him in ruling the country. 2 days after the prince was named, Queen Maya died of some illness. Everybody was grief stricken at this turn of events. But the saddest person was, of course, her husband, King Suddhodana, for Queen Maya was a woman of the highest caste and also the most virtuous of the ladies of the court. After Queen Maya passed away, King Suddhodana entrusted another concubine with the task of taking care of the baby prince, Mahaprajapati. Prince Siddhartha's aunt. She took care of the prince and brought him up with as much devotion as she would have shown to her own son. This Prince Siddhartha never really knew his own mother. Under the careful eye of his aunt Mahaprajapati, the prince gradually grew up. He was very handsome and healthy, a perfect darling to everyone. When he was 8 years old, the king began to invite all kinds of masters to the palace to educate him in the skills of reading, composition, mathematics, archery, and other arts. Enough for today. Good night.